So I think many of you heard, if you watched the videos on Instagram and also on YouTube recently, that we are probably going to be hit with some power outages here in the part of California that I live in. And so we're doing a little bit of preparedness to make sure that we are ready for the power outage if it indeed occurs. So we've gone out and we've picked up extra water, extra ice, coolers. I picked up a generator, first time ever actually buying and operating a generator. So that was a little bit of a learning experience. So I have that. I'm actually going to run some errands right now. I need to get an extra gas can, a larger gas can, I should say, and then some gas so that we can actually run the generator through the night if that's what we need to do because of the power outage. So it's just one of those things that we're just trying to make sure that we are as prepared as possible. But you guys know me. You know, it's a nice day, still, and you can't stop the hunt. So I am actually about to hit a comic shop or two. No, so I'm going to the hardware store to pick up a gas can, then the gas station to get some gas for the generator. It just so happens that the comic book store is right next to the hardware store that I happen to be going to. You know, it's just coincidence. So anyway, I am going to try to capture some footage for you guys as I hit at least one comic shop before the power goes out. So this right here is the generator that I picked up. It's the Briggs & Stratton. Come to find out that they're like the largest supplier of portable generators, I guess, in the U.S. I actually did not know that. It just happened to be the one that Home Depot had in stock when I went by. So this is actually the 3500. I actually wanted to go with a larger model. The problem was that I was driving my smaller car and actually didn't have room for a larger. So I think that this one's going to be fine. I think it's going to be perfect for what we need, which is to basically power up at least, you know, one refrigerator and then a couple of odds and ends inside the house. So I think we'll be fine. Fingers crossed. It's a pretty nice setup here. It actually took me a little while to get it running, primarily because I actually didn't put enough oil in the thing and actually had a lot of oil. I just didn't realize how much oil the thing would actually take. But once I got the oil added, we were off and running. So I'm actually going to head over. This is the gas tank right here, which is pretty massive. So I'm going to head over and try to get a gas can, fill up with some gas so that I can actually get this this needle to move in the upward direction, because you can see I have a fair amount of gas in there right now, but certainly not enough to run this thing for a long period of time. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I am back in the comic book room and I still have power. And so I am going to show you some of the books that I picked up earlier today. But before I get to that, I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on what's been happening here with the power situation. So they originally told us that we were in the zone and that our power was going to be cut off at 5 p.m. Today. And around 12:50-ish, they said, nope, power is going to be cut off at 2 p.m. And so we kind of scrambled to do a couple of things that we were planning to do a little bit later in the day. We pulled those things forward. We ended up completing those things. And then we took our son to soccer, and we weren't quite sure whether the power was going to be on when we arrived. But as we were getting ready to leave the house, they said, nope, power is not going to be shut off at 2 o'clock. It is being pushed back to 5 o'clock. So we went off to soccer. We did our thing. We came home. We weren't sure if the garage door was going to open, but the garage door opened up. Power was still on. And we've been just kind of doing what it is that we were going to do, waiting for the time to tick by to see if the power would be shut down. And we still have power. And it's, I don't know, about 7 o'clock, almost 7 o'clock now. So I'm here, hopeful, ready with a generator just in case. But while we still have power, I'm going to go ahead and record this video. So what I'm going to show you is essentially a couple of books from my pull list, a couple of the Halloween Comic Fest comics that were being given away for free at one of the shops that I hit, as well as some books that I pulled out of the long boxes in a comic shop. So I'll show you the books that I picked up as part of the Halloween Comic Fest. I actually picked up 2 copies. This is Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 0. I own a couple of Miles Morales books, but they were more, I picked them up as part of an acquisition of a collection. I don't think that I've ever really purchased a Miles Morales comic, and technically I still haven't because this one was free, but I went ahead and snagged that. I snagged this one, the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider #1 as well. This was a cover book that came out, I think, a couple of months ago, and I never picked that one up, but I saw this one on the table and was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and snag that. So I picked up those 2. You guys heard about this one before. This is one of the copies of Vampire State Building that I picked up, Ablaze #1. This is actually a really cool comic. Somebody recommended this to me on the Ready, Set, Go preview show. I immediately went out, picked up a copy, was able to read it, thoroughly enjoyed it, so I snagged an additional copy, and then I have maybe 1 or 2 additional copies coming from another one of my comic shops who picked up a couple of the #1s for me. I enjoyed it that much, so I'm picking up a couple of copies. Here is Immortal Hulk #25. I just finished reading 24 earlier today, hoping to get to 25 maybe tomorrow, but cool cover right here. And this is Amazing Spider-Man #32. Continue to buy this one even though I haven't read it in several issues. It is, however, a pretty cool cover though. I dig this version of Spider-Man. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Ramos Spider-Man, which I'm also a fan of. So while I was in the comic shop, I decided to dig into some of the back issues. And of course, I went straight to the A's and pulled some nice Amazing Spider-Man books that I needed for my run. This is Amazing Spider-Man 642. Here is 643, and these couple of covers are really, really cool. This is 644. Cool cover. I dig this one as well. This is, which number is this? 656. Cool cover. I dig that. Here is 665. And again, these are all books that I needed to further my full run. This is 669, some Spider Island action. Here is 673. Unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of them in sequential order, but enough of them to for me to make a dent. Here is 674. Would have been great had I just been able to grab a huge stretch of them. This one actually has lots of spine ticks along the spine, but it is Amazing Spider-Man 675. Here is the second print variant of 682. I'm not really focused too much on the variants from this run, but if I see them, I will grab them, but my focus is really on the A covers by and large. Here is 688, and I honestly may have a copy of this one already, but it was there. It was a couple of bucks. I went ahead and snagged it. Here is 690, little Morbius action right there. Definitely dig that. Here is 695. Couple more here in this stack, and I think I own a couple of these as well. This is the third print variant of 698. Here is, what is this? Oh, we jumped big time. Okay, so this is 700.1. It's one of the variants. So I have a couple of the 700s, but not the ones that I'm about to show you. This is 700.1. Here is 700.3. Is that first print? Yes, I believe so. Here is 700.4. So there you have it. That is essentially my run of books that I had to pick up, or I had a chance to pick up earlier today. Again, looks like the lights may stay on. So I think that's definitely a good thing. If you guys enjoyed this video, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button. If you enjoyed it enough to leave a comment behind, please do that, and we can mix it up in the comment section. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at RegieCollects on Instagram. Take care. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear me over the wind whipping around my ears. It is about 7 o'clock in the morning. We were hit last night with the power outage here in Northern California. My wife and I literally were having a conversation at like 9:27. The power went out, and she looked at me and she said, "Well, I guess I'm going to bed." So it was an interesting night. Very, very strong winds all night, and it went from basically zero winds to what you are probably hearing right now, if not a whole lot stronger. And so we have some wind things over here. I'll show those to you in a second, that are just spinning because of the wind. Thankfully, the house is essentially undamaged. There is a piece of my balcony here that was kind of ripped off, but I think that it's actually going to be fine. The generator was started first thing this morning. It is running back there, purring like a kitten. The kids are inside with lanterns and stuff like that, eating oatmeal, so they think that it's a great camping trip. Hopefully we will have some power here at some point tomorrow, but you can see here in the valley behind me, there are lights down there. So down the hill, hopefully you guys can see that, they actually have lights, but up here in the hills, no power at all. No, you have to buy it first, then you can get it out.
Buy what?
You have to buy it first, and then you can open it, okay?
Look at this! Then we go home.
Yeah, we're going to go home in a minute.
Yeah.
So it's about 6:40. Walking up the hill right down the street from my house. If you take a look at the valley below, when we went out earlier today, briefly, you can actually see some fires kind of burning in the distance. Well, I should say we saw the smoke in the distance, and the air quality is pretty bad. Probably going to be out here for basically the valley right up the street. You can see basically the haze in the air. Hopefully you guys can see that. I mean, there's power right here at the store, and there's actually power behind us, but there isn't power right here where our houses are. So it's definitely very selective. A lot of college students live in this little large complex right here, and the college is right here. A lot of that is the college in the foreground here, but in the distance is one of the cities. You can see, I don't know if you guys know the geography here, that is actually the Dunbar Bridge right there that goes over to I can't even remember what's over there. Palo Alto. Like Palo Alto is basically right over there. But it's definitely an interesting sky. Very, very thick up here. I've heard it's actually worse down in the valley. So we are basically on day 2 of not having any power. Last night actually wasn't all that bad. We were all able to kind of huddle together in one room. The kids had their iPads, so they were able to watch iPads until we basically turned the lights out when everyone had to go to sleep. It wasn't bad until this morning when we woke up at the crack of dawn and the power still wasn't on. And then we very quickly learned that there may be a third wind event on the horizon. And so to that point, they may actually keep the power off until Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So we're trying to manage through that to see whether that is indeed going to be the case or whether they're going to kind of restore power sooner than that. We are in the process of charging up all of our various battery packs and things like that. You guys have seen some of these battery packs that I travel with for work or that I take to cons. So we have multiple versions of those battery packs that can charge up, cell phones, iPads, that kind of stuff. So we're charging that stuff up. We have a couple of solar powered lanterns that are now outside being recharged with the sun. The generator is running along quite nicely, so we're in pretty good shape. Fingers crossed that we won't have to go into Wednesday or Thursday with no power, but it is what it is. The great thing is that we still have hot water in the house, and we still have some semblance of heat. When I'm able to power up one of the little heating units that we use, so it's not terrible, right? The kids are kind of enjoying it. And we're spending a lot of time together, and then during the daylight, we spend a lot of time kind of outside with the kids doing various things. The one thing that was really a little scary, as you saw, were the fires that were kind of nearby. And this morning, we realized that the fire that was closest to us has actually been put out. The air quality is a lot better. I mean, we're still not going to be outside this morning trying to make sure that things have kind of cleared up. We're also going to be checking the reports to see what the weather quality or the air quality actually looks like. So we're going to be monitoring that. The kids were able to actually go to school today. There was a lot of messages going back and forth last night and then also during this morning as to whether school was going to be open. The school is open. The kids are there. They're going to keep the kids inside all day, which I think is the right call to make. So, I'm going to go back here, check my battery pack, see how we're doing with that, rotating devices in and out to kind of keep them charged. So we will see. Fingers crossed that power will be restored. The good news is that we are still releasing video. No, seriously, the good news is that the family and the house are safe. And yes, I am still actually releasing some videos. So by the time you see this, you would probably have already seen several videos that had already been pre-recorded, already scheduled, and are being released kind of sort of as we speak. So anyway, I will definitely keep you guys posted on how things go over the next couple of days.